Miss Goody Two Shoes. That was always me. What did that mean? Do what your parents tell you, study well, talk properly, never ever go out of the circle. Always be sure about what others are telling you. Follow the truth. Follow what has been told to you. I never questioned it, never ever questioned it, till that one day when I was in my 30s and I realized that something was missing. I had the right cocktail, the right education, a lovely family, a thriving practice. Everything was going well. Yet somewhere deep inside, I wouldn't listen to myself. I always thought someone else knew better. My family knew better, the experts knew better, everybody else knew better. Perhaps that was true. But what started happening is bit by bit, I started shrinking. I didn't even realize it till that one fine day. 2016, 26 January. You can see me right here, absolutely gorgeously dressed up for a wedding, being very happy, dressed to the toe, dancing as though my feet were on fire. I loved my shoes, I danced and danced and danced, and there was so much joy. I thought life couldn't be beautiful. And suddenly I spotted a swing right there. One of those ornate ones that we see in the South. You've seen that, very sturdy, very good to look at. And you see, wow, I'll sit here and I'll be relaxed. My friends, my family were, yeah, you've been dancing, and yes, just go take a reprieve. And as I was sitting there, I was like, wow, this is so wonderful. The next minute, there was a loud crash. I looked around, I tried to get up, and I couldn't. I've always been the helpful kind, always ready to help, always there with, my two shoes to go on and do, till I couldn't. 5 people lifted off a pillar which apparently had fallen on me. I realized that I was buried very deep, and all I felt was instant fear. Was I going to die? Was I going to stop thinking? How would I solve problems? How would I look? What was happening? That near-death experience that everyone talks about. I didn't seem to be dying, but there was a flurry of voices. It's like, everything was echoing, and I couldn't hear anything. Just the voice of my own fear. Nothing. As I was going, I was rushed for a CT scan. Miraculously, everyone kept saying, thank God you don't have any injury, there is no bleeding. But my head was going on reeling. I was like, yeah, they say I'm lucky. Perhaps I am lucky, but I don't feel so lucky. My head is throbbing, I'm feeling wobbly. What's really happening? I went for my CT scan, and then what happened? Everything was okay. The doctor left me with medication, and he said, you have to rest it out for a few years. Just rest, take medication, you'll be fine. You can see me, from there to a life like this. I couldn't read at all. For me, words are magic. I love reading, I love talking. I couldn't do anything. They said I was getting better, and I should be grateful. Nothing was wrong. I was thinking, I was eating, I was talking. But here, this was me, just lying down. Months and months and months, and I didn't know what to do. Then a friend visited me. She told me, Pragati, you're doing well, it's okay, you're lucky to be alive, but it's been a brain injury. You never really know. Even after a year or two, sometimes symptoms come. So I lost my mom when I was a young girl, and she had a brain injury, and she never left me a last message. So I know you love your children. Why don't you write a last letter to them? If you do that, about how much you love them and how it would help them. So I was shocked out of my mind. Really, what is she talking about? I know I don't feel very good. I'm lying down half the day. I feel better. I'm eating my meals. What is she talking about? Scenes of the movie that I had seen, where the actress reads her mother's letter as she grows up and she gets her father together, went on and on in my mind. And I was lying down and I thought, no, this is it. I'm not listening to anyone else anymore. Enough is enough. As I was lying down, I was listening to an audio tape of Dr. Wayne Dyer, where he said, to lead ordinary lives, we listen to others around us. To become extraordinary, we listen to ourselves. And it was like, wow, it was an aha moment for me. Something popped in my mind, an idea that do I have to live on the sidelines all the time? Do I really need to live my life as others say? Can I just listen to myself? What I hear from myself is my own ear. What is my mind telling me? My mind is telling me, Pragati, enough is enough. Why don't you take stock of your life? You read, you write. You need to own your own destiny, and you are alive. You are breathing. I don't know what medical journals are saying. I don't know what's going to happen. But from today, I'm going to move on and embrace life. As I was thinking that who is it that who you have been, I was reminded of an incident from my school days. This is me in my boarding school. As you can see, it's a group of girls having fun. We are all having our thumbs ups. We are very, very happy. But if you see me, I'm right there on the sideline, drinking my Coke, but very cautiously, enjoying, but enjoying within limits. I was not being limitless. I would never listen to my own voice. Each time the fear would be there. What if the warden came? What if I got checked? What if I got sick? So I realized that all my life, all I had done was listen to everybody else. But I was not listening enough to myself. And the time had come to listen to myself. And how is it that I could listen to myself? I thought back to another incident. This is me getting a prize in middle school for being the best in academics. You can see my head is bowed down, you know. It's like I'm apologizing for being a little better than anybody else. If I did well at academics, I felt it's okay to be good, but be humble. Don't own your spotlight, you know. Always be with an air of apology. You can see such a big prize, everything is there. No, don't be too big for your boots, you know. Stay within the limits. That was me. Till I realized that that was not working anymore. I had stayed in my limits. Now God has got me to a crossword which I didn't know. I wasn't prepared for it. Here I was lying in bed month after month, and yet nothing was working. They said I was getting better. I wasn't getting better. So I realized that I was not going to run away from my problems. Whatever it is, whatever helps me understand myself, whatever helps me regulate myself is going to be my own year. I am going to actually find what is it that works for me. So where did I start? I first started off with a concept called learned optimism. I had always heard about learn to be optimistic, but I was not going to be optimistic because of everybody else. I realized that yes, my life is beautiful at the moment, and I'm going to make it even more beautiful. I'm not going to wait for others to give me doomsday-like prophecy or even tell me practice gratitude because at least it's not so bad. I wanted to appreciate this moment. That meant embracing a healthy lifestyle as a choice, not because others were telling me, sleep at this time, wake up at this time, eat that food because good for you. No, actually look at it as something which is the elixir of my life. When I eat healthy, when I talk healthy, when I think healthy, I feel better about myself. And I learned to actually be very compassionate to myself. Up till that point, I realized for me, compassion meant being compassionate to others. You know, if anybody was crying or feeling bad, help them out, listen to them, whether it was family, whether it was friends, whether it was in my therapeutic practice. It was always about being compassionate to others. Being compassionate to myself meant, firstly, no more visitors. I decided very consciously that I was not going to have anyone visiting me and talk about their experiences, not at all. I was ready to regulate myself and listen to myself. I realized being compassionate meant, okay, I met a doctor and the doctor told me that if your head gets better when you rest, take periodic breaks. And I realized being compassionate meant that taking regular breaks. So I would go to my clinic, I would come back, I would rest it out, I would take a nap. I had always believed before that, you know, either you work completely or you work a little less. Don't take breaks, you know, don't do things, don't take naps. Only lazy people take naps in the afternoon. We all think that right now, or babies do. But I realized, yes, I needed to nurture myself back like a baby. So I was ready to take frequent naps. I started eating a lot more B vitamins. What I started doing is I read. I've always been an avid reader. I read more and more. And I realized that having B vitamins is very, very important. So I consciously started having nuts. Before that, I would have nuts sometimes feel that they are heavy or not. I started having leafy green vegetables. Even when I would go out for dinners and all that, I learned to have my meals and go. I learned to sleep properly for 8 hours. Before that, it would be 5 hours, 6 hours, and I would sometimes think it's okay. It's been a work assignment on which I need to work on, a family function, a social gathering. My sleep got compromised. But at that point, I realized, no, I need to practice whatever feels good. I need to see what makes me feel that I am coping up. So I imbibed a healthy lifestyle. I started walking for an hour a day. I had read somewhere that when you walk for an hour, your hindbrain actually starts working. That's linked to your survival. That reptilian brain that we talk about. When we walk regularly, we feel all is well, all is well. When we are lying down, we start doubting ourselves. When we are overworking, our problem-solving brain is there. But when we are walking regularly, there's a sound which goes on, all is well, all is well. The beauty of it was I started feeling lighter. This is me in 2017. As you can see, I feel as though, the world belongs to me. At that point, I felt everything is possible. I am possible. So how is it that I came to that juncture? By owning that I am meant for a life of significance. By owning that I was not going to die with my music still inside me. There was a lot inside me which was waiting to be uncovered. So what is it that I did to make myself mentally stronger? I realized that there are 7 daily practices which helped me reach that point. So bit by bit, I started actually getting back to things which I enjoyed. I listened to my body. I started exercising in a way which was possible. I used to be an avid swimmer and an avid squash player, but because of my injury, I couldn't do it anymore. But walking was possible for me. So I realized physical fitness did not just mean doing what you have always done. But if you needed to adapt because of changes in life, that was always my choice. So as I kept thinking more and more about what is it that helped me achieve my goals, I started writing about my goals. Now, how did I do that? I shared with you, I spent 10 minutes with myself a day. I started journaling. I started writing about what went well today. I would do it at the end of the day. What did not go well today? What can I change? What is it that I need to adapt? How is it that I envision my tomorrow? What are the 3 things that I am grateful for? So when I started doing this as a regular practice, in time, what really happened is I became stronger. I developed emotional ability to cope up. I had my own emotional ability resource. So as 1 year passed, 26 Jan 2018, I realized that I was a changed person. I had actually managed to find the fountain of emotional ability resources in myself. I had found my own year, my willpower. It made me a superwoman. It made me someone who could achieve. By the time it was 2018, I was in the midst of my PhD. I had written 5 books. I was addressing crowds of students, thousands of them across different countries, different places, and I felt as though I have come alive. So what is it that I did? All I did is I owned my own space. I actually realized that engaging in self-directed growth is what was needed to find my own ear. So my superpower, my EAR cape, my ear is my willpower. I urge all of you listening to me today is to listen to your own self. Yes, we need to listen to others. We need to go on about what is working in our life, what is not happening. But are we listening to ourselves? Find your own ear. See, what is it that helps you regulate your emotions better? What is it that makes you feel that the world is beautiful? Not because it's supposed to feel good, but actually that is what you think is right. Another aspect that really helped me was kindness. I always thought that kindness was about kindness to others. But the person whom we really need to be the kindest to is our own self. The reason why we are unkind to others is because we are not kind to ourselves. And how can we be kind to ourselves? I learned to be kind to myself by sleeping when my body wanted, by laughing when my body wanted, by not setting goals which were too difficult for me. I learned to just accept myself the way I was. I learned to laugh at myself. You know, you see those little children who are dancing in the rain. Yesterday it was raining. Out of the thing, they just look at life with glee. So I learned to just look at life with glee. Whatever went well made me feel happy. What did not go well, I guess perhaps it was not meant to me. So this kind of compassionate thinking actually brought me to a zone of anchoring of emotional ability resources, where I realize that I have lots of things to be grateful for, and what is really important is uncovering my own year. So when we uncover our own year, what we get is actually a lifestyle of absolute superpowered living. I went on to write my books, which are actually being reprinted. I had never ever thought I could write books. As a young child, when I read Enid Blyton's, I always wondered, how does she weave magic with her words, you know? How is it that she knows what to write about? When I grew up, as I read her life history also, you know, one of the days I watched a movie where it was said that her childhood was very sad, and all she did was escape into her own world and create those magical characters. I realized that perhaps I have not had the experiences of Enid Blyton, but I have struggled too. And because of my struggles, the cracks that I carried inside me got exposed. So like kintsugi, where we fill the difficulties in life with gold, the Japanese art, I learned to fill my life with gold. I learned that whatever made me uncomfortable was actually pointing me to a zone of growth. When I was forced to lie down on that bed and week after week and not know where I was headed, I never realized that God was planting me, and actually like we get planted into the soil, He was helping me take stock of the situation so that I could germinate, I could actually be the person I was meant to be. So you saw a picture of mine going to my school where I actually was on the sidelines. This is me as a speaker in December in my school, where I'm inspiring 800 plus students. I remember right after the talk, as I shared my stories, I had students who came and who embraced me, and actually I felt that life is worth living. Now when I get a prize, I got back my physical fitness and I actually won the trophy for squash, which had actually gone off from my life. So I realized that when we get a prize, we have to embrace it with gratitude and we have to own our space. So today all I do is actually look at my superpower of EAR. I listen to my own voice. What is that year that I found? For me, it was my year of my willpower. I reached Harvard, I reached the zenith of my potential in my career, in my personal space, and guess what? With my willpower, I achieved all that I had thought possible. So today, what I want to tell you all is listen to everybody, but listen to yourself before anyone else. So I am a superwoman today who wears the cape of my year every single day. The $1 million question is, have you discovered your cape of EAR? I want to know.